Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Macon-Bibb County Board of Commissioners pre-commission meeting. Today is Tuesday, August the 20th, and the time is now 5 o'clock. I would like to officially call this meeting to order and welcome everyone in attendance in his home. Tonight, we're not aware of any presentations that we have just now, but we do have several items on the agenda, one of which may include a presentation. So the first item on the agenda is the approval of the minutes. This is the approval of the minutes from the August 6, 2024 pre-commission meeting. Can I get a motion to approve? Motion by Commissioner Wynn. Do we have a second? Second by Mayor Pro Tem Clark. All those in favor of the motion, please say aye. Opposed, nay. That motion carries to be sent to consent agenda. Item 4A is new alcohol beverage license. This is the BP Mart located at 4095 Pinona Avenue. It's Macon, Georgia. This is a change of ownership with fuel sales. You can see a picture of that on your screen right now. And legal does recommend approval. They made all legal statutory reasons, including a certificate of good standing. At this time, I'd like to make a motion to approve. Can I get a second? Second by Commissioner Wynn and Commissioner Bailey. All those in favor of the motion, please say aye. Opposed, nay. That motion carries to be sent to consent agenda. Item C is the Fiesta Beverage Outlet, doing business as Macon Beverage Outlet located at 3965 Arkwright Road. I believe this is also a change of ownership. Legal does recommend approval of this item, and they do meet all the legal and statutory requirements, including a certificate of good standing. At this time, I entertain a motion for approval. Motion by Commissioner Lucas, second by Commissioner Howell. All those in favor of the motion, please say aye. Opposed, nay. Excuse me. No, ma'am, I did not.
That was like heaven showing up, picture was.
The fried beverage outlet? We voted on that one, didn't we? Do we not?
No,
We'll go back. All right, we'll go back to item 4B. You are awake over there. That's the fried beverage outlet, doing business as Macon Beverage Outlet located at 4580 Log Cabin Drive, Macon, Georgia. There was a picture. Okay, I recognize the location. This is same thing. Legal does recommend approval. They met all the legal and statutory rights, including a certificate of good standing. So at this time, I entertain a motion for approval of that item. Commissioner Bailey, that's in your district. Thank you very much. We got a second by Commissioner Wynn. All those in favor of the motion, please say aye. Opposed, nay. Congratulations. That item passed to be sent to consent agenda. Item D, jalapenos. That's what it's called, jalapenos. Jalapenos Catino of Macon LLC, doing business as Jalapenos Catina, located at 458 2nd Street. Don't see a picture of that, but it's just around the corner here. They have had a soft opening under a temporary permit, but tonight legal does recommend approval. At this time, I entertain a motion to approve. Motion by Commissioner Waddle. We have a second. Second by Commissioner Wynn. All those in favor of the motion, please say aye. Opposed, nay. That motion carries and will be sent to consent agenda. Item E is Tenya One LLC, doing business as Tin Mill located at 6125 Bass Road, Suite 330, Macon, Georgia. I think most people are familiar with that ad. If not, you'll see a picture there of that. Location between, where's that? Next to, there you go, Europe. And I was looking at Shane's Rib Shack there. So at this time, they meet all the legal and statutory reasons for approval, including a certificate of good standing. I entertain a motion for approval. Motion by Commissioner Jones, second by Commissioner Wynn. All those in favor of the motion, please say aye. Opposed, nay. Likewise, that motion carries and be sent to consent agenda. Item F is, I guess, Senior 2490 LLC, or CR, SR, whatever you call it, doing business as Logo Food Mart located at 2490 Pinona Avenue. I think everyone is familiar with the corner of Eisenhower and Pinona there. This is a change of ownership. Legal says they do recommend approval because they meet all the legal and statutory guidelines to do so, including a certificate of good standing. At this time, I'd entertain a motion for approval. Motion by Commissioner Bailey. Do we have a second? Second by Commissioner Wilder. All those in favor of the motion, please say aye. Opposed, nay. That motion carries and will be sent to consent agenda. Our final item on the alcohol permits would be Beauty and La Bar Nail Lounge LLC. You can see a picture of that, Butte LLC, located at 1625 Bass Road, Suite 240, Macon, Georgia. Legal does recommend approval on this new license. They met all the certificate of good standing as well as all legal and statutory reasons. At this time, I entertain a motion for approval. Approval by Commissioner Wynn. Do we have a second? Second by Commissioner Lucas. Jones. Get your nails done, have your glass of wine. Apparently somebody's familiar with that concept on this commission. You don't like that? Not I? You got your nails did. All right. We have a motion and a second. Commissioner Howell, you have a question, sir?
Yeah, I got, just a, is this, are we breaking new ground with this, or?
This is not the first one we've had. We've had a couple already, but this is getting to be more familiar each day. It's not the first one in Macon, for sure. We've had it before here, but it's also in other cities around the state of Georgia.
Well, I don't get my nails done a whole lot, so I just want to make sure that wasn't breaking new ground here without a little discussion on it.
Well, you could get a pedicure there as well. They do those for men.
Probably,
So,
maybe once.
any other questions? We do have a motion and a second. All those in favor of the motion, please say aye. Opposed, nay. That motion carries to be sent to consent agenda. Let's get into some agreements. We have several of those on there tonight. Begin with item 5A. This is a resolution of Macon-Bibb County Commission authorizing the mayor to execute an agreement with Evidence-Based Associates LLC in amount of up to $220,143 for the provision of functional family therapy services for juvenile court to be paid from the Juvenile Incentive Grant Funds. Is that in my motion? Can I get a second? Second by Mayor Pro Tem Clark. Questions regarding that item? Going once, twice. All those in favor of the motion, please say aye. Opposed, nay. That motion carries and will be sent to consent agenda. Item B is a resolution of the Macon-Bibb County Commission authorizing the mayor to enter into a software licensing agreement with Environmental Systems Research Institute for, what's the name of this? Software licenses in amount of $350,100 for 3 years, payable at a rate of $116,700 per year from the IT department for software licenses. Can I get a motion to approve? Motion by Commissioner Bronson. We have a second. Second by Commissioner Howell. All those, yes, ma'am. Commissioner Lewis?
Yeah, I just wanted to ask where we are as far as rebuilding, because I know over the years, we've spent hundreds of thousands of dollars on, a system here or system there, part of a system. And the whole idea was to have a complete system and have everybody who could talk with each other, especially at the courthouse. So what piece is this?
This is software licenses, but I'll let County Manager.
It's for the GIS. We have gone to one comprehensive GIS. Well, it is still in progress, but you have tax assessor, IT, engineering are the three main departments that use it. And from there, our IT department oversees that from there. So she is the guiding force in all our GIS efforts. So we are still working toward building that system that everyone that uses GIS has one seamless reporting structure.
Commissioner Wynn, did you have a follow-up?
Yes, I did, Dr. Moffett. Is this a replacement of something we have, or is this new to us?
This is a renewal of what we currently have.
Okay, it's just a renewal of what we have.
Right.
And then no changes in what they're doing for us?
No, we did changes a couple of months ago when we took the data and migrated to the cloud.
Mm-hmm.
You remember that after the cyber incident, the vendor recommended we put all our data in the cloud. So that's the only change we've had, but this is to the renewal of the licenses for the software.
So they're continuing to do what they've been doing, basically. Okay, thank you.
Commissioner Watkins?
Just reading between the lines of some of my colleagues, it may be helpful to all of us if not you and if not today, you could explain what GIS stands for, what it is, and how we use it, maybe with an example or a picture or something.
That's fair.
Because I'm sure we're going to vote yes for this, but in
I will,
honesty, we have no clue as a body what a GIS stands for.
Okay, and if you would allow me, I will ask the mayor on an upcoming, maybe do a work session on it and have the three departments come in and show exactly how they use the GIS data. It is the backbone of what we do with property assessments and things of that nature. When we do the flyover every X number of years, that we look at all the different properties. So that is, you are absolutely right, probably time to do that, just to do a refresher on the GIS. So,
Appreciate it.
allow me to
He's just so
schedule that.
tall. We do have a motion and a second. All those in favor of the motion, please say aye. Opposed, nay. That motion carries to be sent to consent agenda. Item C is a resolution of the Macon-Bibb County Commission authorizing the mayor to enter into an agreement with Tyler Technologies for the purchase of necessary hardware and licensing fees for New World Exec Time software in amount of $124,673 payable from the IT Department budget, security and infrastructure contract labor. This time entertain a motion for approval of that item. Motion by Mayor Pro Tem Cart. Do we have a second? Second by Commissioner Howell. And you need to add something to that, Dr. Moffitt?
Well, Commissioner Lucas already signified she had a question on that. And what this is most of our employees, we use the eSuite system through New World where you log in and put your hours. So if you work 8 hours a day, you're at a desk, it's very easy to keep up with that 8 hours. For our employees that work out in the community, it's a little bit more difficult with that. And so this is a biometric time clock that they will use a fingerprint that it keeps up with their time as they come and go. We already have it in 3 departments. We implemented it last year before last, in fire, parks, and public works. And what we're doing now is adding it to 3 more departments: solid waste, airport, and it's written down in the corner. And the rec centers. Solid waste, airport, and the rec centers. So again, it's just biometric, helps us keep up with time better as people coming and going.
Commissioner Jones?
Yes, sir, and I, along with the other colleagues, we spend a lot of money on this, and we trust the administration, rightfully so. But, and I like the idea of a work session, but do you know off the top of your head what does GIS stand for?
Me and Julie just went over that. I'm pretty sure it's Geographical Information Systems.
Spatial.
Mayor Pro Tem, geospatial.
I was wrong.
Information system.
Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem. That first word got me.
Thank you, Commissioner Jones. Commissioner Wynn, do you have a question?
I do, same thing, pretty much same thing I just asked you about. Now, this is not a renewal of what we had. This
No, this is new.
additional
Right. This is adding additional
departments
time.
being
Yeah.
added for the same purpose that
Right,
we've been
and the
using.
most cost of it is the actual time clocks themselves, but it's a one-time cost. But then,
Okay.
again, it'll be at the majority of our locations and employees as they come and go. They
Okay.
can just put the fingerprint on, and we can keep up with their time, and it feeds seamlessly into the New World system for
So-
payroll purposes.
So one-time cost, though?
Yes.
Okay. All right, thank you.
Commissioner Watkins?
Before I get, I'm curious just on it's a time clock system that's better than the traditional time clock that you would buy from Office Depot. That's the punch card system. I'm curious on the implementation of the places that you already have it. Did the amount of overtime hours that employees were receiving or documenting increase or decrease?
I don't know the exact increase or decrease, but we feel confident that it allowed us to be more accurate with our time in those departments. That there was not a guesstimate of who went to lunch, what time they went to lunch, giving them credit for 8 hours and they worked 10 hours. It gave a true actual time of when they came and left and they were on the clock.
So did that result in extra time for employees or savings for the county?
I'm anticipating savings for the county because it gives us an exact time. When it comes to overtime, that's when scheduling, if somebody's scheduled to work overtime, we're gonna have overtime. But it allows us to reduce any type of, I hate to use the word fraud, but it allows us that someone just can't go to the computer and think, oh, okay, last Tuesday I worked 8 hours, let me just put down 8 hours.
So in the event that, and I don't know exactly how things work, but someone forgot to clock in last Tuesday, what happens in this system?
Payroll has a process for that we have time correction sheets that they will fill out, and then the supervisor will have to verify that they actually were at work during that time.
So how is that different with the biometrics versus whatever it is you're using now?
It allows us to be more accurate with that the employee, it puts the accountability on the employee more than that they will actually go to the clock and do it that way. And so it just adds more accountability and more accuracy to the process.
Yeah.
We did a motion second, and we voted in favor of that, so that'll be sent to consent agenda. Item D is a resolution of the Macon-Bibb County Commission authorizing the mayor to execute professional services agreement with various professional service contractors for provision of services in Macon Judicial Accountability Courts. Those are included in your packets. This time we'd ask for a motion to approve. Motion by Commissioner Bailey. Do we have a second? Second by Commissioner Watkins. Question for Commissioner Wynn?
Yeah, I just want to, it says, and I should know this better, but it says to execute professional services agreements with various professional service contractors for the provision of services. Can we kind of understand what these services are?
Yeah, I think they were listed, the people were listed in there, but I'll let the attorney give you a more accurate description of that.
Come on down.
It's the same service we vote on each year, but these particular ones are on a list that gets selected
Yeah.
to choose from.
You're too tall, Keith.
So what?
Hey, yeah, so I'm Michael McNeil. I'm Chief Assistant County Attorney, and I've got your resolution right here. Okay. This one, okay. Yeah, so this is for, no? I'm sorry. I'm filling in today, and so I'm a little bit scrambled. I'm sorry. Right here. Okay, got it. So we have a number of accountability courts. We have in Macon a drug court, a mental health court, veterans court, and a family treatment court. And so each of those courts have different sort of like counseling and monitoring needs that they send their participants through. And so for, this is a basket of contracts basically. So for the drug court, the mental health court, and the veterans court, we're hiring the Step After Evidence-Based Programming LLC to do counseling. They do like group therapy sessions and things like that for the participants that are in those programs. We're also hiring, and that's $38,160 max out of this allotment. We're also hiring Enhanced Behavioral Health LLC to do some other kinds of counseling services for the drug court and the mental health court program. And that's up to $31,600. And then we're hiring Redwood Toxicology to do drug and alcohol testing for the accountability courts, and that's up to $48,920. And so they do like weekly drug screens and alcohol screens.
Is this new? Are these
No,
new
these have been
services?
components of the the four accountability courts for years. It's just we have to renew the contracts.
So this is a renewal of a contract. Again,
Right,
here's a
right.
renewal of something we already have. What was the total on it? 31, 38?
It's a maximum of $38,160 for the Step After, $31,600 for Enhanced Behavioral Health, and $48,920 for Redwood Toxicology. So
100,000 something.
yeah,
Okay.
about 90,000 or about 110,000.
Okay,
These are just the ones. There were a few others, but these are the ones that are over $25,000 because our code requires you guys to approve the ones over $25,000. There's a few smaller ones too.
thank you, Attorney McNeil.
Thank you. Need a motion? Okay. We do have a motion second. If there's no further questions, we'll call for a vote. All those in favor of the motion, item D, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. That motion carries and be sent to consent agenda. Item E is a resolution of the Macon-Bibb County Commission authorizing the mayor to execute an agreement with Tiger Entertainment and Consultants, Inc. in the amount of $65,000 per year for the management of Henderson Stadium to be paid from the Recreation Department contractual services line item for all the lawful purposes. This allows us an opportunity to get full use of Henderson Stadium. It does include some legacy provisions in there for groups that are already performing there, including the Soul Jam that saw us handle there each year. But as you recall, a couple of years ago, the school system quit using Henderson Stadium. This gives us an opportunity to get over there to the stadium to do multiple events, including soccer, football, food court, food trucks, racing, other types of events. This is a contractual services allow us to put that to use and extend the monies. Did you say something? Racing? So you say, so moved? Got a motion by Commissioner Watkins. We have a second. Second by Commissioner Bailey. Had a question from Commissioner Lucas.
Yeah, you answered one of them, because I know Soul Jam, and, I don't know whether there's a conflict or not. I'm sure y'all will tell me. But I guess they're kind of grandfathered
It's specifically
in,
written in the
because they've been
contract.
there 25 years,
Yes, ma'am.
so.
So contained in the contract, and I do apologize that Court got it to you a little bit late, but it does have that specifically written in the contract that I'll be signing, that Soul Gems as a legacy clause.
Okay, what kinds of events are prohibited in a stadium?
I don't know of any, I mean, all legal activities are, you know, permitted, but I do know that we've had various interests from anything from racing over there, that we've had races over there, believe it or not. We've had car show opportunities, maybe a food truck frenzy periodically, football games. There's a particular company who wants to have football games all next year. We've reached out to the soccer associations. You have, for those groups that can't necessarily perform at the amphitheater, that's another option for them in the general area outdoors until you build up the clientele there. I know that even someone asked about weddings there, other types of reunions and school events. I think there's a realm of possibilities, but we spend a lot of money revitalizing that area over there, at least at the Henderson Stadium, and we need to get our money back on that. So this gives an opportunity to put it to better use.
Okay, and on the cost, 65,000, is that firm, that's a figure that this entity would be paid? It doesn't matter what the,
We get, this is a cost that we're paying for the person to run this, the company to run this facility for us. That's a $65,000 contract with them. All the money comes to Macon-Bibb County. And we'd expect that particular company to bring in 3 times that amount in revenue.
and if they don't?
They don't, they're subject to termination under the contract. Commissioner Wynn, you had a question?
Yes, sir, thank you. I know that the Board of Education doesn't own this facility anymore, but will we allow liquor sales at this facility now?
Well, you can always get some of our events we have over there allows for special event permits, and they are allowed to serve adult beverages on occasion.
That's something we haven't been able to do over there because of the Board of Education.
We've used them for special events, but certainly not during the previous school games. But the school system decided not to use that facility anymore a couple years ago, and we need to get use of it. Commissioner Howell?
So I'm kind of, wait.
Oh, sorry, Commissioner Wynn.
Wait, I'm doing a follow-up like Commissioner Lucas does. I just want to know where the 65,000 came from. That's a figure that concerns me for this position, and it's going to be under the Recreation Department?
That's right. It's something we budgeted for. It's something where you have, generally, these positions pay anywhere $74,000 to $85,000. We did not feel comfortable paying that much. This is also not an employee, it's an independent contractor, so there are no benefits that they'll get that our normal employees would get, including paying their own taxes, Social Security, Medicare, insurance, pension benefits, and we believe it's in the ballpark, and perhaps it would have been a lot more had you put out an RFP, but I think we feel comfortable with this company because they've got a record in our community.
Well, I'm not sure about that, but anyway.
Thank you very much. Commissioner Howard, you took your light off, you still got your light on? You have a question,
It's
sir?
on. Curious, let's take autocross, for example. Is the new entity, who sets the price? Have we got prices set for autocrossing, or how's that work?
We've got standard prices set through our recreation department, and Robert Walker will be doing that. On these new events, we're working on different schematics on that to determine what the costs are, what the needs, as well as this particular entity providing the insurance as well.
Okay, well, I mean, I think this is a good idea, but I think we're, again, going into some uncharted territory, and a private entity and a government trying to work together, I think there may be some things we have to work through, and that was one of the things, is who's gonna set the price. But if
We do it all. I mean, we do the same thing at the Coliseum. We have events over there ourselves, our auditorium, and we have a company that runs it on the other side for us. Some events we bring to the table, sometimes we don't. But this is something we're trying. I think it's gonna be something well worth Henderson Stadium, and it's a good way for us to make money and recover some things that we've done there. But certainly the question is always good. Commissioner Bell, you had a question?
Yes, I would just like to take this opportunity now that we're talking about Tiger operations and how they're gonna actually benefit Macon-Bibb County. And this is just one example of one citizen that's reaching out to provide services for Macon-Bibb County and thinking out of the box. And at this time, I'd just like to tell Macon-Bibb County that, you too can make proposals to this commission to try to help Macon-Bibb County with their parks and recreations that you may find that are underutilized, or any space in Macon-Bibb County that's owned by Macon-Bibb County that you feel that would be more productive. Use this as that opportunity and this blueprint that Tigger is giving you right now. And it's nothing new. It's more like the MVP program, and where the MV program is utilizing, the talents of Macon-Bibb County. We're going to continue on doing that. And I thank the commission, and I also thank Tigger Entertainment for going forward and thinking out of the box.
Thank you, Ms. Bailey. Commissioner Bronson, you have a question?
Yes, sir. Out of curiosity, who would be in charge of I know it said it falls up on the recreational, but who will be in charge of the maintenance and upkeep of the field itself, and then to also include security and traffic? How does that play out? Is that involved in their contract when they hold an event, or is that something that we would take hold of?
Macon-Bibb County has always been responsible for the maintenance, but the person running the facility will be a requirement for making sure that our parks and beautification and our parks and recreation collaborate to make sure the things that are done and these are taken care of there, just like we've always done. As far as security, depending on the particular type of event that's going to run there, each one requires certain type of security. Matter of fact, like the Soul Jam, they carry their own specific type of security.
Okay.
If you have food truck frenzy on a Saturday, you may have a different type of security. If you have class reunion for this class and this class and this class, you may have a different type, but they're all set out and spelled, as well as the fire department. The fire department has a play, whether or not you have a game over there, how many people you're gonna have there, ingress and egress, so the fire department's always a part of that, and those are fees that are normally associated with that, and those are all be paid in Macon-Bibb County.
And just to make sure we don't, I guess, have an issue, conflict anywhere, I know we did a big deal in regards to alcohol sales across the street from certain locations. Now, keep in mind with Henderson Stadium, if I'm still tracking it right, Henderson Stadium is right across the street from a school. And I want to make sure that we're not, does that fall up on a special contract where they can sell alcohol being that it's not an established building? How does that play out? Just to make sure we're doing this right.
I'll let the attorneys answer that, but certainly there's no prohibition from selling alcohol there under a special event permit.
Okay.
Attorney McNeil?
Hey, Doc.
Hey, I'm back. So my understanding is there's been a history of alcohol sales there in the past as a government-owned facility, and so the state law and our local code would allow that to continue under the same legacy provisions as like a gas station that opens up and then a school opens near it, or that kind of thing.
Any other questions, Commissioner Bronson? Commissioner Watkins, with you?
Yeah, and I know this is, we've owned the facility for a while, but it seems like we're going into a different management avenue with it. And I'm curious, is there a existing, outside of the $65,000 to the contractor, is there an existing budget for events or marketing or facility upkeep that we're holding, again, the contractor or Parks and Recreation to? Or is that $65,000 what they use to do marketing materials and other things for?
The $65,000 is inclusive, right? Attorney McNeil?
Right. So the 65,000 is funding for salary plus all expenses for the scope of services. And so the scope of services that's spelled out in the agreement includes marketing. It includes management of the facility as needed, although we're doing the work that's needed, and then day-to-day operations for when there's an event, when there's a rental.
And is it I know with the Centraplex, they have I know their schedule, it would be wrong to say that they're getting a percentage of ticket sales, but there are goals that they meet and bonuses that they receive if they hit said goals for us, and different things outside of just the flat, this is how much you manage it. Are there any of those types of intricacies in this contract? Performance measures or?
No, it's just $65,000. And I mean, it gives us an option to revisit and kind of, if things go exceedingly well, we can renegotiate. If things go
And-
poorly, as Mayor said, we can terminate. But
And just so we're all, I know we all, know the contractor here. And just so everything is on the up and up in the contract, and granted, again, we all know that I just got the contract hour or less ago. Is there any provisions in here that detail what performance measures we're holding them accountable for? A certain number of events, a dollar amount that they should generate in gross income or net income or any of those type of things, so it's just not purely our feelings 16 months from now?
so a lot of this was negotiated from the standpoint of this is the first time we've done this at Henderson Stadium. And so essentially right now what we're doing is just benchmarking. You know, turn the keys over, try something new, see how it goes, and then basically look back after a little while and see, you know, if that went well, you know, we can add to it or we can do more, or if it went poorly, then we can kind of cut it off. And so this is basically just, you know, I don't want to speak for Mayor, but
And
that's been
and I guess those benchmark things that we're talking about, just so we're on the same page, the number of events.
number of events, number of tickets sold, you know, different types of uses, community approval, just whatever, you know, the situation is that plays out. As the public gives feedback for things they enjoy or things they have concern about, then that's stuff that we can kind of look back on and modify as needed.
Okay, I'm tracking. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Watkins. Commissioner Water?
Who would be held liable or responsible for insurance during different events?
So a lot of the events get their own insurance for, you know, if someone's having a concert out there, they would, you know, be the ones that are setting up the floor plan and things like that. And so they would usually have the insurance, but, you know, if it's not in the context of an event, we're self-insured as to just our facilities generally. And then, the contractor here would get their insurance to the extent
Right.
that anything arises that they're liable for because of their operations.
There's insurance requirements in the contract for the contractor to get.
Right.
Thanks. Thank you for that.
That's the last question, Commissioner Water?
I see it.
Okay, thank you. This time, I'd entertain a motion for approval. I'm sorry, got a motion by Commissioner Watkins earlier, and I had a second. We got a motion and a second. There's no further questions. We will call for a vote. Commissioner Jones, you have something, sir?
Just to confirm something, I don't know if this new device is working that she brought me, but
I can hear you.
just to confirm that it is an exclusive right for Tiger Entertainment to use and manage the facilities, correct?
It's exclusive as to hiring and promoting events there, subject to, as Mayor said earlier, Soul Jam has a legacy right to keep
Right.
coming back, and anytime the county wants to use the facility for its own functions, we also have a right to kind
Okay.
of preempt anything
That was my,
else.
so.
Right, yes. Certainly, the county has a
still
large
the right
part.
to use it if they so choose for.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear that.
The county has the right to use it if they so choose to for an event of.
Right, and we would
Macon-Bibb
take
County.
precedence over anything else scheduled.
So we'll get a calendar, and all calendar dates that are already booked up will not be subject to re-rental by the contractor.
Right.
So, thank you, Mr. Jones. We have a motion second. All those in favor of the motion, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. That motion carries to be sent to consent agenda. I heard your nay. Now we're going to move on to appropriations. Item 6A. This is an ordinance of the Macon-Bibb County Commission to authorize a supplemental appropriation in amount of $140,010 from the general fund balance to the engineering department budget. Professional services line item for the purpose of funding and designing the planning of improvements along Walnut between Martin Luther King Jr. Boulevard and 7th Street. To authorize mayor to enter into a professional services agreement with BTBB, Inc. for the design and development of the improvements to be made along Walnut Street. And I didn't know you had my picture up there. Is it okay to release this, Alex? I guess it is now. So this, what you see on your screen is the area of in a Walnut Street with MLK there. You see the bridge that we've had trouble with there, the trestle. As you enter across that headed toward Carolyn Creighton Park, on the left-hand side, you would be where Norfolk Southern building that we negotiated a sale on that. You can put that screen back up there, it's fine. Followed by the old batting cages that we bought there, as you recall. What we're trying to do here is to make sure we take care of all the issues there with the water that's been causing the road to rumble up there and water to back up in the area. And we've been working in conjunction with Georgia Power, who has a utility easement there, Macon Water Authority to solve that problem and to figure out where the water was coming from. At the same time, we have talked about repaving this entire road once and for all, doing new sidewalks there, taking care of any ingress and egress we have there, and also providing ample parking for Carroll and Clayton Park there. As you can see, just a design that I asked to be done to kind of see what it would look like. So that would be the parking lots there that would be fenced off, used exclusively for events from Macon-Bibb County, although we could allow access to folks across the street to park there. It will clean up the area. At the same time, the thought is to put underneath those areas there, I think they call them cisterns, which collects the water underneath there. Macon Water Authority would do that prior to us paving the parking lot and be able to pave all over those parking lots there. This is just a architectural, well, just a design that we've had put together there without any cost. This is to allow the professional service to actually do the design and planning of the improvements there and come back with a scope of work and the RFP for the projects, so should we intend to move forward. So let me go ahead and ask for a motion a second, then I'll take questions. I'd like to make a motion for approval of this item. Can I get a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Jones. We'll take questions from Commissioner Bronson. Yes, sir.
Hey, happy to see that coming to the district. Hey, out of curiosity, I know you said this is kind of a basic or pre-design. What are the thoughts or what is the input in regards to EV charging stations, coverage for, stops, if anything, weather-wise? Do we have coverage areas in the event that someone needs to, make a stop due to the weather? And then, of course, handicap accessibilities. Where are we at with that? Has that been part? I know it's been part of the conversation, but where are we as far as how many and what locations would they be?
On this particular site? They're required to have so many within a certain area there. Of course, there's not a building nearby here as far as that's concerned, but according to the number of acres we have, the number of parking spaces we have, they'll have to meet all the statutory guidelines for putting handicap accessible parking there. As far as the EV chargers, typically, we haven't discussed that on this particular project. We can have them look at that to see if we got some things in the air. Generally, in a place like this, you don't have those kind of things, particularly what we got, the challenges we have in that area there. People like to be able to go shop and do other things while they're sitting there for a couple hours waiting for theirs to charge, but certainly it's something we can ask the design to look at.
Okay. And then of course, coverage areas,
Coverage areas for what?
like throughout. Say, for instance, if I'm parked and I'm on the other side and I get about midway and a storm hits, is there an area where I can actually kind of
Oh,
stop?
covers.
Coverage areas, yeah.
No, sir, this is outdoor, open parking. We haven't discussed any enclosures.
Okay.
I assume that once we get everything back from them, it could be carte blanche, you can add things, take away things. Right now, we just need to get a design started so we can move forward with the project.
Sweet deal. Well, I would advocate for more EV charging stations if that's okay.
All right. Yes, sir. Commissioner Watkins?
So, the source of these funds, the source of funds, if I'm understanding it right, is from the general fund balance. So, this is the first of the year, maybe our second meeting since the budget year. And this was originally unbudgeted, and we're taking it from the fund balance, which is our savings account, to pay for, and so I'm correct on the source and what I'm thinking.
Yes, sir.
Before, I'm not asking how much is in fund balance, but this is gonna take $140,000, and I don't have another use for this 140. But I'm curious because it looks like we have a picture of a parking lot.
That's correct.
There's currently vacant land and some shrubs over there now. And we want to take that shrub area and turn into a parking lot. You just put on the screen a picture of a parking lot that's specific to that area.
That's correct.
What's the $140? What's the money for? I mean, because we could just start building a parking lot. I've seen people build parking lots and level land with less information than the picture that you just put on the screen.
Yeah, I think it's a little bit more
Parking
complicated than
lot
that, but
probably don't cost.
I'll get our director of places to step up to the mic to give you a little bit more background on why it's necessary to have actual architectural drawings and schematics on this. Can you identify yourself, sir, and answer that
Yes.
question to your best ability?
I'm Alex Morrison, Director of Planning and Public Spaces. This is a roadbed where there's a lot of right-of-way issues, curb cut issues. The sidewalk is functionally non-existent in the area, where there's been erosion of it over time. So this is a lot of engineering work and architectural work to design a new sidewalk treatment, a new road pattern, new parking treatment for Walnut Street itself, as well as the addition of a bike lane, which is in partial completion of the Pleasant Hill pathway, which we've been working on and have federal funds for. So this is the conclusion that will connect from Pleasant Hill all the way into Carolyn Creighton Park, which has additional renderings for that. But a lot of the work here is for engineering to address the water flow. There's an existing creek bed that runs through there. It has to be addressed, so you have to have geotechnical engineering that goes into that. And the reason this is all in one contract is BTBB will oversee all of the subs and all of the engineers and drafters and surveyors that need to go into it, so that this whole project can be ready for bid, so that we can procure the actual contractor to go build the treatment.
So how many spaces of parking lot are you anticipating? And what do you anticipate the total construction budget or the total project to cost?
This is what we just have now is a rendering based on the amount of land that's available. When they actually do the surveying and engineering, they'll be able to tell us the exact number of parking spaces. In that rendering, I believe there's about 120 or thereabouts, which is more parking than's been available there before for events. And then I don't know what to estimate the total cost of that, but I believe there's no funding set aside for that. Okay. Well, it will be up to BTBB to give us an estimate of the cost, but we'll know the final cost when we actually put it out for a public bid.
So I know a lot of times though, engineering contracts and architectural contracts are a percentage of the total project. So how did we get to the 140 if we don't know or have an estimate of the full project? And I know a lot of times it's the rate of cement or something like this times the square footage or the acreage of the area. So walk me through how we got here.
Right. If we were doing this as a design build and we were procuring a designer and contractor at the same time, you would anticipate that it would be a percentage, because what we're asking BTBB to do is to produce a bid set. So they're doing this off of the man hours that it would require to produce said bid set. So we're paying their standard rate. So because there's no percentage cost, we're just paying for the time and the work product independently of a separate construction project. So there's no percentage of anything to draw from to create that amount. And we're not asking them at this time to do construction administration, which would then be a percentage of the construction cost.
Another thing you may want to consider is at the time we purchased these properties, we did a resolution in front of the commission that was passed unanimously to recover any funds that we spent on this project directly from the anticipated SPLOST in 2025. So we'd be able to recoup any money from the general fund, hence use the money from the general fund. But we need to know what the cost of this project is going to be, and the first step in doing that is to take care of this initial issue. There's no doubt that we've had a history of drainage issues there. We've been working with Ron Shipman and Michelle Wana from the Water Authority for months on this. We've been working with Patrick Harris and his team for months on this project from the perspective of Georgia Power. And right now we got into the stage now that we also put the project off for a little while because we were waiting on the housing to be completed there just across the street. But certainly this gives us an avenue to get pricing for that whole road to be paid from the store MLK there through Carolyn Creighton Park and take care of all the roamings and the issue with parking there since we no longer had any parking at Carolyn Creighton Park for events that happen there. So that's pretty much the answer. We don't know the price yet until we get them to complete all these drawings, and then they can do an RFP, and then we can get some prices and decide whether or not we want to add things, take away things, or not even do the project. Commissioner Wynn, you had a question?
Yeah, Alex, hang on just a second. I know Mr. Mayor told us what was the proposal of what they're looking at, the sidewalks and the drainage issue. Will there be any thought for what we can do with the looks of the bridge, the railroad overpass, underpass, whatever you want to call it, because it looks like it needs to be brightened up, lightened up?
I'll answer that. the short answer is we're working collaboratively, hopefully with the Norfolk Southern, but they get to make all the rules. And we had a process to put some fencing there, potential paint got rejected, but we're going through a step-by-step process. Once we complete everything with Norfolk Southern there to look for a way that we can dress up the area, which should include a pathway through there, fencing off some of that area because it does become dangerous when someone gets a grill there and starts to cook underneath the bridge there. And certainly it causes some other issues in the area. So we're working with them. It's a slow process, and it is Norfolk Southern. They're a great partner, but things move a little slow.
Yeah, I know there's a kind of a hierarchy there. There's God, there's Norfolk Southern, there's the rest of us that have some involved. But I like the idea of wanting to paint it, but they nixed that idea.
That's correct.
Okay.
They wanted to deteriorate
Thank you.
construction.
Thank you, Alex.
I have 3 more questions. We'll go with Commissioner Wilder.
Remembering the photo a while ago, it appears the Norfolk building's gone in that, so
That's
we'll be
correct.
taking that down.
We'll be taking that down anyway, but yes, sir. The surveying work's being done now anyway on the property that we own. If you go by there, you'll see the surveyors out there working, but we anticipate as soon as that is complete and all the documents are signed, we've already done the environmental on that. We'll be removing that structure and then working collaboratively with the Macon Water Authority. Commissioner Bronson, you had a follow-up, sir?
Yes. Hey,
Howdy.
long nights, man. I get it. I get it.
Have a
Had had a quick question for you in regards to Norfolk, which you've already mentioned. Have we looked at any grants on that end? That's the first question. I know there were some grants that were issued out last month that can probably help out for this project. And then 2, the other part of that would be, as you know, a couple of years ago, I was trying to figure out ways to get the roads redone. That's up under that bridge on Walnut. Is that included in that particular plan, and are we utilizing those grants for that?
The road, that's what the mayor mentioned, part of why this project has been delayed for so long was we were trying to figure out why the water was there and why the cave-ins were happening. So we had to involve both Georgia Power and Macon Water Authority just to get an answer to the source of the water. It's been a long time, decades-long mystery, which might involve a spring. It's very curious. But yeah, so that's one of the major things. We have looked at I think the Norfolk Southern grants that are out there, but because of the nature of this, we need to have an actual project. We have to have the bid set ready for us to know what we're asking for the grant funds for. Most of your grants that are for this, you have to have the design. You have to have a shovel-ready project. And this what we're procuring now or what we're hiring now would allow us to have a shovel-ready project so that we will be ready for any possible grant funds for this project.
Thank you, Commissioner Bronson. We do have a motion and a second. All those in favor of the motion, please say aye. Opposed, nay. A motion carries to be sent to consent agenda. We have 3 other items on the agenda. We have about 12, 13 minutes to finish up before our commission meeting, but we'll go ahead and move forward. I don't know if I need to go into executive session at this time. So item B is an ordinance of the Macon-Bibb County Commission to authorize a supplemental appropriation in the amount of $342,500 from the general fund balance to the Intergovernmental Health and Welfare NBC Transit line item for the purpose of providing funding to Macon Transit Authority for increased insurance costs. These insurance costs are something that we're required to pay. These insurance costs are actually twice that amount, but the other half has already been paid by GDOT. This is the remaining portion that we would need to pay. They go on a calendar year, we go on a fiscal year. So if you recall, we did the same thing last year. This is something that happens every year once we know if the rates are going up or going down. So at this time, I entertain a motion to approve. Who was that? That's Bronson and Bailey. Got a Bronson and Bailey, okay. Questions, Commissioner Watkins?
Respectfully, sir, we cover the transit authority's shortfall every year in a system like this, but the reason or whatever is insurance this year. One year it was gas prices went up. Another year it was the state was delaying our payments. It's always a different reason. And I can never figure out, we budgeted again. We just passed our budget in June, July. And here we are with $342,000 coming from fund balance for something that they had to have known about when we were passing our budget in June, July. Because we do this just about $350,000-ish, probably, again, every year since you've been here. I can remember most of the years under Mayor Rickard, and it seems like I can remember the conversation going back to 99 with Mayor Ellis with these types of transfers. And again, it's gonna go after I leave, but it would just be better budgeting if we actually had this honest conversation that for whatever we're budgeting them in our annual amount to add $340,000 to it, so we don't have to do this.
This is for 2024. We don't know that amount. We estimate on what we anticipate it being based on what it's been in previous years. My understanding is this amount here is for 2024, not 2025. So this is the amount that they had to pay and they're getting reimbursed back for because the cost went up for their health care services dramatically.
That's what I'm saying.
So we
It's-
wouldn't
but
have
it's
been
a
able to
different
budget for it.
story every year, but it's the same
But it
amount.
changes every year. It's not the same amount.
Very close.
I mean,
But
it's not the
it-
same amount. There's a difference between very close and not same amount. Try to balance your checkbook and be short or over. There's a difference when you don't have enough money there. So it's not the same amount. It's the amount they have provided to us that they have paid their half by GDOT, the 50% requirement, and we're reimbursing the other 50% of that. We estimated in this year's budget, we got a certain amount in there this year for next year. When it comes time to do a sure up, there may be an excess or a shortage on that. It just happens, but this is
So
a
let me ask,
2024 amount.
if it's budgeted in the budget, why is it coming from fund balance?
This is 2024, this is last year.
Either one. Why is it coming from fund balance and not its appropriate line item if it's budgeted?
From last year, Virgil.
Sure.
We're talking about, this is from last year's fund balance.
This year's budget, we included in this year's budget already. But this is, they sent us this in what, April, May? And we questioned it repeatedly, and this is what the final number. They sent this to us in May of last year, and we questioned it, repeatedly went over with them, and this was the cost of it. So we went ahead and we budgeted in the budget you just approved for 25, but this will cover the shortfall that was in 24.
So we're covering the shortfall for 24, and there will be no shortfall in 25 because it's already budgeted for.
We budgeted this amount. If the amount is the same, if the insurance is the same, then it won't be, but we won't know until they do the end of the year.
All right.
Commissioner Lucas?
Yeah, this absolutely is very close to the amount, Commissioner Watkins, that is requested each year. And we've had the same question for years as to why isn't better accounting for this. And there have been different reasons that we've been given over the years for the request for over 300,000 additional dollars. 1 year or several years, it was to have money in the bank so that they could draw down other monies. And the question has been, why didn't you plan ahead for that, having that amount of money so that you can have it in place so you can get your other money? That question has never been really answered. We just approved it. Many of you will recall in the last several years, this same entity tried to increase the fares for this community where you have a, what is a 30% poverty rate? What, somebody knows it, 26? The mayor knows the poverty rate, 20. And so I do hope that in light of the fact that we keep approving this every year, and I thought we were gonna get to a point where we would no longer have to approve these additional monies. So I guess now the reason is insurance. So I guess we have to accept that since we haven't seen the documents. But I would encourage the county, since the county gives substantial monies to the transit authority, these are our citizens that are using transit services, and the routes are being cut back, they're being changed. There's a lot of things that are going on that are not in keeping with what the transit authority is about. It's to provide a way from point A to point B or C or D for our citizens. And it's not to gouge the citizens of the community. I'm gonna support this because I have no choice because of the way that it's presented to us, but I sure hope that if anybody comes up here and asks for a fair increase, that the new commissioners and those who are sitting now will not accept that. We have all of these folks who depend on transportation, on the bus, to get to work, and the hours don't even coincide with a lot of folks' work hours. So it's a problem. So I won't be Commissioner Lucas. Well, maybe I will. But I will be Citizen Lucas, and I am adamantly opposed to any increases. And I sure hope, in light of the fact that we keep approving this, Mr. Mayor and fellow commissioners, year after year after year, and I know you don't like it, y'all might not be able to say it, but you don't like it either. But transportation is one of those functions that we need to provide, even if it's an imperfect setup. So I do hope that you will oppose that as you did in the past, because our citizens just can't afford anymore. And after all, they pay into this pot too. This money that we're appropriating for these folks, everybody pays. Everybody, no matter what the income level, no matter whether they have transportation or not, they still pay. Just like all the rest of you pay when you go to the store, you pay that extra penny here and that extra penny there. So everybody pays. So we need to consider those folks too. And y'all, please keep in mind, I still have my sign that says no fare increase, and I can bring it back as Citizen Lucas,
You through?
and I will.
You through?
Thank you.
Yes, ma'am. Two more.
You can
Yes,
just
ma'am.
keep it right here. Just leave it right here.
Commissioner Wynn, you have a quick question? We can move on for a vote? Okay.
I just wanted to say that if you've been watching the news, all kinds of insurance prices have doubled, tripled for everybody. So I'm not surprised if this is an insurance thing.
That sounds like an insurance agent over there. All
Yeah.
those in favor of the motion, please
Yeah.
say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carries to be sent to consent agenda. Let's move on to item C. Ordinance to Macon-Bibb County Commission to authorize the appropriation of $500,000 in American Rescue Plan Act funds for the purpose of providing funding for the Macon Mental Health Matters Program. We've had several updates here and an MVP on the Macon Mental Health Program. This is the final money of the ARP funds as relates to mental health matters. I understand there's a short presentation tonight. Is that correct? Ms. Cisse, if you don't mind coming up to the front. Before she begins, I'm going to go ahead and do a motion in a second to make sure we get one before we do a presentation. Certainly, I'd like to make a motion to approve. Can I get a second? Second by Mayor Pro Tem Clark and others. So at this time, Ms. Cisse, we'll hear from you. And I know you've got a presentation that's been shortened up dramatically. Go ahead.
I'm a former college professor. I'm supposed to have
I can
long,
give you the axe there. Yeah.
but I will not be presenting long today. I think, so, okay, somebody try to show me how to do this before. Okay, good, there we go. Okay, so I'm Gloria, I'm sorry.
Speak into that mic so we can hear you, please. And if
Can
you
y'all
need
hear
some
me now?
assistance.
Can you
Yes,
hear me
ma'am.
now? Okay, I'm Gloria Smith Cisse. I'm Gloria Smith Cisse. I'm the CEO and lead therapist at the Southern Center for Choice Theory. And we have the honor of facilitating, running the Macon Mental Health Matters initiative, where we are very conscious and work as our mission to accomplish our mission to make this a more mentally healthy community. We are extremely grateful to the mayor and the county commission for giving us the opportunity. I thought I knew how to use this. I'm sorry. For the opportunity to offer no-cost mental health services to the people, I do it, okay, in our community, because we know there is no health without mental health. And thank you for helping us to advance this. Okay, and so in the last 12 months, we offered individual mental health services to 1,233 people. That's a lot of people. The majority of them were a part of the African American community and also lived in the 31204 community. That we did have 24% that were white and 5% that were classified as other. And the folks that we provided services to came primarily from these four zip codes. But again, we did a lot. I'm trying to do this kind of quickly. But
I don't want you to, I don't want you to speed up to such an extent where you don't get the information, so take your time.
Okay, all
Yeah.
right, good.
We've already
Thank
shortened
you.
the presentation a little bit.
Thank you. Okay, from 51 slides to 10. Okay, so in these, if you look at this slide, what it shows is the part where the interest for the services that we offered over the last couple of years, actually the last 3 years, came from. The bulk of a bulk of interest came from 31204. I can't read all those numbers anymore, but the significance to looking at this slide is noticing how the change from over here where it says 21 to 22 to 22, 23 for other zip codes in our area increased significantly. 31204 has maintained or continue to be consistent, but the interest from other parts of our county has increased, which helps us to understand or to be able to articulate that we are doing the work we need to do to reduce the stigma that's associated with mental health, because people are looking for more information about making mental health matters, and therefore information about mental health in general. We offer a lot of services, y'all. Sometimes I get up and I'm exhausted thinking about how many things we try to get done in one day. And certainly some weeks we don't even have Sunday off. But we love what we do, and we love being able to go into the community or even sit in the spaces at Booker T. Washington Center and provide services to people, or go into the parks and rec centers around the county and be able to talk to people who might not come to a therapist, provide a little bit of support, through a drum circle or a yoga activity, or just even having a conversation with people. One, it reduces an individual's anxiety around talking to a therapist, and therefore it makes it a lot easier for somebody to make that phone call or go onto the website and register for some of the services that we offer. This is just some of the things that we've been able to accomplish. And I have to also say I'm extremely proud of the team of people that work with us, who work so hard. When I say let's create something that, because we can't reach a particular population, somebody will create something. We got an intern who started today, and I told her when she came in today that I would really love for you to help me to create a group or a training to support helping people to learn coping skills. And how about, before we walked out of the Booker T. Washington Center today, she said, "I got it written, I'm gonna send it to you." So we're gonna, in addition to some of the other things we're doing, we're gonna add coping skills, teaching coping skills to people during our visual journaling class on Wednesday. We do a lot of non-traditional things in our therapy, because we think that there's more than one way to be a therapist. I love hearing Commissioner Lucas talk about things outside of the box. We do a lot of stuff outside the box. We do drumming. We go into community and do drumming. We do knitting and counseling. We do all kinds of things to help people be more comfortable with the idea of therapy, and to participate in therapy in one way or another, whether it's building community or it is, you can go to the next slide, thank you. I don't know why it's not working for me today. All right, and so this is just some numbers, right, of the kinds of counseling. You can go to the next. And so Teranga is a way that we think about building community. It's a concept that I learned when I was traveling, but it's all about building community. And we know that relationship building is critical to helping people to be able to get the change that they deserve. We have a Macon Mental Health Matters Alliance that meets, and right now we have 41 members. We have had 38 meetups, whether they were men's mental health meetups or women's mental health meetups in our community, which also gives us another opportunity to address mental health concerns in a very non-traditional way. You can go to the next slide, please. Okay, so recently I mean, it was such an incredible opportunity to collaborate with Penn to have some students over the summer to come and help us to this most recent summer to collect the ASA score for our community. And we did a presentation in this very room a few weeks ago where we talked about the ASA score for Macon. And I'm going to say it to you all today, like we said it that day, that a score of 4.07 is not, it's 4.07 out of 10, but it doesn't mean that it is not a significant score. Any score on the ASA study is significant, and we all need to be paying attention to the way that our community is impacted by these adverse childhood experiences. Next slide, please. We have contributed to more than pouring into more than 37 counseling interns, nurse practitioners over the last 3 years, which which comes to approximately 19,000 hours. Many of those people have to do either 300 hours, 180 hours, 160 hours per semester. So it is a lot, and we're excited about this thing because we get a chance, because of this initiative, to help to create the next generation of mental health professionals that are going to be in our community. What we have coming up for 2025 is we're going to continue to do, we're going to actually do the ACEs study. We're going to expand on the ACEs study and be able to provide some additional information to everyone. We're going to enhance our Taranga experiences, meaning our practical mental health experiences, and changing. It's not just a platform, right? It is something that we want to do for our community. And we will host our inaugural, okay, I don't have to pronounce that word, mental health symposium next year. So thank you all very much. Last slide, I think.
Thank you. Commissioner Lucas, you have a question?
I just wanted to say, Commissioner Wilder and I attended that presentation, and it was just very, very good. And then at our Commissioner Clark and I both serve on the Board of Health, and just yesterday we got a report on a parallel study, and in it we were just, I mean, it was just a real hit to hear this information that if you live in the Pleasant Hill area, your life expectancy is, I believe it's 67, maybe. But if you, is it 60? But if you live farther out, say Stanislaus, in that area, life expectancy is 82, I believe. So it makes a difference, and the reason I mention that is all of this is tied together, this area of healthcare, and mental health is just so important. It's been neglected. And so I would encourage us, Ms. Mayor, you presented something that we all signed on to, advocating for Medicaid expansion.
Yes, ma'am.
And delivery of additional mental health services. I think we need to renew that effort and get it on the minds of our legislators, because Medicaid expansion came within one vote of passing, and maybe this year in the session it will pass, and that means health insurance for another 500,000 Georgians. And so all of this is connected, and so thank you all for what you do. And hopefully more and more people will realize that if you got a heart problem, you go to a cardiologist. If you got your leg broken, you go, where do you go to?
Orthopedic.
Whatever. You go for whatever, you know, you need. So if it's a mental health issue, which we don't want to admit, we're slow to admit it, but it influences everything else that happens with us. So have been very pleased to support the additional mental health initiatives, and we need to push this. And legislature is talking more about mental health. There's some of them that really need it too, but but yeah, especially those who, some folks who serve on the Board of Elections, State Board of Elections, but that's
All right,
another
Ms. Lucas. All right,
subject.
Ms. Lucas.
I'm finished. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Lucas. Commissioner Watkins, we'll hear from you, sir.
Yes, thank you for the presentation. I learned a good bit. Just a couple of follow-ups. I was curious, when you were describing could you go a little bit more in depth on what the Mental Health Alliance is and how or what membership is?
Okay, so the Mental Health Alliance it really is a collaboration of individuals in our community who have an interest in the mental health of the community. You do not have to be a mental health professional. You do not have to work in a mental health organization. You just have to have an interest in supporting and mental health and working to end the stigma that's associated with mental health.
Thank you. And a little bit more follow-up, you used the acronym ACES, ACE. Could you give me a little bit on, and you mentioned that we had a community score.
Yes. Yes.
Could you just a little bit what that stands for and what it is or how it impacts us as a community?
Okay. ACES stands for the Adverse Childhood Experiences Study. In 1995 and 1997, Dr. Felitti and his crew out of Kaiser Permanente conducted a study, and I believe there were approximately 17,000 people who were a part of that study. And what they found are there are these 10 items that show up, like being exposed to family violence, or I can't think of them. I'm a little
Things that are
anxious.
bad for children, adverse is bad stuff.
They're adverse things that kids are exposed to that increase the likelihood that you will develop heart disease, you will have strokes, what is that other one? Diabetes, but also mental illness. So in our ACEs score again is 4.07, which over an ACEs score over 4 indicates that there is a, and I don't remember all of what it alludes to, but you're more likely to have certain health conditions, including mental health. That's
And
why
out of curiosity, and I think Commissioner Lucas was alluding to this earlier with the, and that makes more sense in the context.
Yeah.
I was wondering how we got there with the life expectancy.
Yes.
Because life expectancy and the 4 is, I guess, the average experience of all of Macon, but that varies widely from community to community, or street to street, I would suppose.
It does. I think we had one or two people who actually had 10s, which is really high, really high. That means they've experienced all of the adverse events that are listed in Feliti's and his team's work, and some people had 1s. But depending on the area, and if we want to talk about the Pleasant Hill community, folks probably experienced quite a few of those adverse experiences in childhood.
Sadly, I can understand that. And could you talk to me about the mix of counselors and if I'm understanding, we provided services to 1,200-ish individuals. And you gotta excuse me, my screen was a little messed up. I'm curious about the breakout of, and if you don't have it, we can talk about it later. But I guess, traditional folks seeking traditional counseling, which I think of as the one-on-one personal hour, versus, I guess, and you mentioned a lot of it was non-traditional, but and just help me out there.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so the 1,200 number is individual, so that's traditional therapy encounters, and 5,200 was the non-traditional
Okay, I got it right. Okay.
therapeutic interactions. And so that could be any number of things, yoga, drum circles, group therapy. 5 days a week, we offer a walk. Well, it used to be 5. Now, the first day, our knitting and counseling is now a closed group. So you kind of have to interview to be a part of that group. But we're offering 5 days a week of people to come in to the Booker T. Washington Center without any stigma and access mental health services.
Okay, okay. I'm tracking. And I know it was maybe earlier, because we've been through this. This might be your 3rd or 4th round. I know one of the opportunities had 7 locations. That's faded away, I assume. And
No,
we're-
no, 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 no. That it hasn't faded. What we still do is partner with Parks and Rec to provide services, and then we still go around 10 months a year to the pop-ups, so the mental health pop-up gyms, which I'm still wonderfully inviting you all to attend. We go to every neighborhood, every zip code. So yeah, we're still doing the services in the Parks and Rec facilities.
Cool. And the 1,900 hours, just fill out that note for me there. That was related to
That was related to, I think that was 19,000.
19,000,
Yeah,
yes.
that's related to the interns that we have trained and prepared to be mental health professionals for our city.
Is my assumption that the community has received 19,000 hours of
The community's
community?
received more than 19,000 hours, but 19,000 hours specifically for our interns.
19,000 hours from the interns,
Yes.
but then thinking about it in that sense, we've received much more than that from other sources, I guess paid counselors or something like that.
Right.
Okay.
The bulk of the counseling that's delivered to the residents are paid hours. But our interns aren't just providing therapeutic services, it's also assistance, data management, supervision. So it's a culmination of a lot of things.
And I got 37 counseling interns on my notes. Roughly, I guess the
There are
paid counsel, the staffing, 17?
Yeah.
Perfect. Thank you. Great presentation. I learned a lot. Excited for the program.
Thank you, Mr. Watkins. Commissioner Bronson?
Thank you for the presentation, by the way, and thank you for all that you do in the mental health field and other areas as well. Just out of curiosity, services, I heard you mention the 19 hours. What does that normally look like as far as customers? And I know you've already kind of hit on the numbers per day. What are we looking at customer-wise per day?
Well, we don't call them customers or clients, we call them people. And so we, in various ways, we are interfacing and interacting with anywhere between 23 and 28 people in person.
Okay.
And then we also offer services online
Okay,
each day.
gotcha. And just to clarify, I utilize the terminology customers because we're helping everyone. When you refer to people as clients, they feel like numbers. And I got
People.
it. I got it. People.
Yes,
Thank you
people.
for helping people.
Yes.
People service, my apologies, guys. So in regards to services, right, we mentioned one time before, have you guys tied into services for our fire and police officers? Say, for instance, if a police officer has a call, right, has a police incident shooting. Have you all contracted in with them on that end yet?
We have not. We are partnered with the Sheriff's Department for the Survivors Care Project, and so sometimes that does give us an opportunity to work with officers directly. But no, to answer your question.
We do. Out of curiosity, from a funding standpoint, if I can ask you a quick question in regards to funding, what are you guys looking at? What is your normal closeout per year? And then do you have any carryover after that year?
Okay, so funding that we were awarded in February of 2023 was again $500,000. We expended $437,411.70. We had an overage of $62,589. We have continued this program in the same level of activity since February, and we have used our general fund in the amount of about $119,000 to continue this project. And so it means a lot for us to be able to offer it, but it means even more for the people that we directly serve to continue services in the meantime. So, but the overage amount was $62,589.30.
Thank you so much for that. Just the reason I asked in that regard, right? So when we start talking about ARP funding and so forth, at some point we all know that that funding is going to come to a stop.
Right.
So my concern is, because you guys are doing a phenomenal job in my eyes, I want to try to figure out ways of work alongside the mayor. What are some ways that we can assist to ensure that funding continues to come to you guys so we can continue to service our people?
I
in the future?
appreciate your interest in continuing to serve the people, but I definitely have to agree with Mayor Miller and Commissioner Lucas in that this is something that we have to continue to push to our local delegation to get them to. I'm sorry, my children are calling me.
It's all good.
But to continue to push with the surplus dollars that are in our state, we need to continue to push efforts to allocate funding to cities to expand not just what we do here in Macon, but throughout the state.
Sweet deal. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you, Commissioner Bronson. And I think we've been working together as a group to try to look at ways to sustain the program, all of our programs, including the MVP programs, whether it's through our foundations that we've been working with, whether it's through our some grants that we've been trying to write. Certainly, they want to see input from our local communities during ARPA and after ARPA. So I think it's important to look for all ways to sustain them and get them to a situation where they can operate on their own without having to have all the government assistance that we're doing right now. So I just had 3 lights pop up. I should have just went ahead and called the question here. All right, real briefly, Commissioner Mayor Pro Tem Clark, I'll hear from you, sir.
Yeah, I just first would like to sign on as a co-sponsor and thank y'all for normalizing terms like Taranga in this community. And it's I grew up around this nomenclature and these words, and they're not foreign to me, but they are to a lot of people, and they become normal by using them. And so thank you very much, and I think it does a whole lot to bring the collective unconsciousness, as Carl Jung wrote about, to light. So thank y'all. Y'all are doing that for us. Thank you.
Commissioner Wynn?
Yes, thank you both for your presentation, very informative. Just want to tell you that although this is the last sum of money from the ARPA fund, I know for a fact that the mental health is on the radar with the legislatures at the state, so that I think you'll probably see something in the near future, next year maybe, of some help that might come your way to help with continuing this program. I know it's high on their list. I talked to some people over the last couple of days, and that topic came up. Thank you for what you do.
Thank you, I appreciate it.
Thank you, Commissioner Wynn. Commissioner Watkins?
Just so I'm on the same page and I don't have to guess. I was trying to, but I was like, you here, you said it. When you mentioned the 119,000 just then, what was it in reference to?
The 19,000?
No, I thought I heard you say 119,000.
It's $119,201.94. Is
And
what we continue this service even without a contract with the city of Macon or funding. So
That's
we
what I
pulled
thought
that
you were
money.
saying. Okay.
Yes, that money came out of our general operating budget.
And this is a question not for you, but I guess it's for Dr. Moffitt or the mayor or someone. Because we are blessed as a community that you were able to continue after the contract expired. And I've seen it with a couple of other MVP-esque programs. I don't understand, how do they keep getting in this situation where we gave them, right now we're approving a 12-month contract. It seemed like in month 8 or 10, we should be talking about renewal, not month 14, but we're doing that to folks, and 119 on the line suggests to me a quarter or more. And I know of some programs that have discontinued and restarted, and I don't think that was our goal or our plan when we're approving this. I would like for you to be continual I don't know if you eventually get reimbursed the 119,000 or if you just ate that or has it been discussed, but that's kind of wild because we contracted you to do something and you continue to do it. And again, it's not a comment, you don't have to say anything about it, but I just want to be on notice that I'm noticing we're treating these programs like this, and I don't really like it. Not at all. Like, I feel like we could plan a little bit better around these things. And I'll yield there.
So I do want to comment. I
Yes.
know you're telling me not to, but part of the work that we're doing is also trying to create opportunities for this to be sustainable without the government help. So it has been our honor to continue to provide the service. So I can't really speak for any other program, but we would not let, even before we had a contract with the city of Macon to provide no-cost mental health services, we did that because we felt like it was something that we had the ability to do, so we did it. And I think that in order to continue to have programs to be sustainable, that there has to be a public-private partnership. And sometimes that means, funding some things yourself.
And again, I appreciate that. I'm glad you have the ability to do that. That's a blessing to be able to. I strongly disagree with the sentiment that the private sector is going to pick up our MVP programs or our community programs. That hasn't been the experience of governments or society, period. Like, philanthropy has a role, and they try their best at that role. But a lot of the purpose of government is to fill in the gaps that the public or the private sector will not. Seeing about the mental health and the welfare of the most at risk, local governments have to decide whether or not you're gonna do that or not. With the ARPA funds, because of a COVID pandemic, we were blessed from federal grants that are running out. I saw it again the other time with the faith-based initiative under the Bush administration. We were able to fund these and they fade away. The expectation that the United Way or the Red Cross or somebody is gonna be inundated with philanthropic funds, I don't think we should be looking at that. Like, the government is gonna fund it or decide to shut these programs down in a couple of years. I yield, though. That's for another day.
Thank you, Commissioner Watkins. I will say that our MVP program, we actually put money in the budget this last year. We used general fund money to fund those community foundation projects because it was important and it did show that it was working. I think once we tested that and it works, I think the mayor and commission will make the appropriate action when the other money runs out. But we are looking for ways to sustain, and a lot of times there are matching opportunities that we have. So if you have a foundation that's willing to match money and we can match that amount, it certainly saves us money. Commissioner Bailey, I'll give you 30, 45 seconds if you don't mind. We'll close this
And
thing
Mayor,
out.
thank you.
Thank you.
I just want to quickly say thank you, coming from the District 9 area. We are the 31204 area. I'm very familiar with your initiatives, and I do hope that your programs are sustained. And I would like to co-sponsor, be added on co-sponsor. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you. We've got
Thank you,
you and
Commissioner Bailey.
Commissioner Bronson and Mayor Pro Tem Clark. All those in favor of this motion, please say aye. Aye. Opposed, nay. Got one last item to handle here, and then we're going to take a 10-minute break after that before we begin our regular meeting. This is the qualifying fees for some office. I think it's Macon Transit Authority? Macon Correctional Authority, Macon Water Authority, that's what it is. Resolution of Macon-Bibb County Commission to set the qualifying fees for the special election to fill the unexpired term of Dr. Anissa Jones, representing District 1. You should have all the information attached to you. If not, it's on the screen there. Qualifying will be set for September the 11th through the 13th, with the election to be held at the same time as the November election, if I'm not mistaken. So at this time, I've entertained a motion for approval. Motion by Commissioner Bailey. Have a second? Commissioner Howell. All those in favor of the motion, please say aye. Aye. Opposed, nay. That motion carries to be sent to consent agenda. There's no need to go into executive session. It's approximately 6:30, and this meeting is hereby adjourned until 6:40. Well, good evening, everyone. Welcome to the Macon-Bibb County Board of Commissioners regular meeting. Today is Tuesday, August the 20th, and the time is a little later than normal. It's 6:42. I'd like to officially welcome everyone here. We'll begin our meeting like we always do with a call to order, followed by the prayer, which will be led by Ms. Robin Grant. If you don't mind, come up to the podium there, Ms. Grant, and be followed by the Pledge of Allegiance. So those of you that can and will, please stand up and bow your head, and we'll receive the Lord's Prayer.
Our Heavenly Father, I just thank you so much for the opportunity to come here tonight and ask your blessing over this meeting and open it up by inviting your presence in, Father. I just thank you for the city that we live in. We have so much potential, and I think we all love it. And we know we have a lot of problems also, but I thank you for everyone that's come together to participate in trying to find solutions and to work together. I thank you for all of these public servants who are gathered here tonight and who give of their time and effort every day. And I pray that every day, with whatever decisions they need to make, that you'll lead them and guide them and give them wisdom so that those decisions work out for the good of all these citizens of Macon, so that we are led to more safety and strengthening our families and our health, and just guide us in all of these ways, Lord. I ask you to likewise be with this meeting tonight, with every discussion, with every decision that's made, that you will give these commissioners and other participants wisdom and unity and your peace, and just be led to good and righteous decisions, Father. And it's in Jesus' name I pray. Amen.
Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. May be seated. We do have one presentation tonight. This is a very important recognition. So this is a recognition of the members of the Bloomfield Youth Baseball Pride 14 under, who were crowned 2024 World Series champions in Louisiana. So at this time, I'll ask Mr. Armand Burnett to come forward, if you don't mind, and he'll present some certificates. I know that there are some participants that could not be here this evening, and maybe some managers as well because of other commitments, but we wanted to recognize them. And I also wouldn't mind if Ms. Donis Bryant, our elect for District 8, if you would come forward, because she's one that asked us to do this, and she's been promoting this group as well. So if you don't mind, Ms. Bryant, if you'll come up, if you don't mind. And she can shake your hand and stand there for the picture in the middle as we give these certificates out.
Well, good evening, everybody. Just really quickly, Bloomfield Youth Baseball, mid-July last month, went to Baton Rouge, Louisiana, and not only traveled there, but they came back as 2024 14U USSSA World Series champions. So the rec department was in full support of them being recognized on today. So I'm going to take a step back and allow the president of Bloomfield Youth Baseball to recognize his coaches and his players, and talk about a little bit of the hard work that it took to get where they are today.
Thank you. I'm getting kind of used to being here. This is probably our third or fourth time winning World Series, so I think y'all should make me a champ. That's all.
There you go.
All right, get a little comfortable.
Create your own.
I appreciate y'all's support for recognizing these kids. A lot of them, could be doing something other than positive things in the community. So we do appreciate y'all recognizing. I know it's not much, but the city of Macon is behind you. So we just want y'all to do y'all best in whatever y'all decide to do in life, even if it's not baseball. And I also want to give a special thanks to Ms. Donis Bryant. She was with us every step of the way. Baseball, traveling, it costs a lot of money. So we have to have a lot of support, fundraisers or whatever. So she was with us every step of the way, and I know she'll be our new Bloomfield District 8. She'll be our new commissioner very soon, and we look forward to working with her in the future.
All right, going to call them certificates out so we can bring these young men up here.
All right, we got Warwick McElroy.
Sure, go ahead.
Thanks, sir.
You like to?
A few of these, they had football practice, other obligations, so they weren't able to make it. Kyle Howard, Kendarius Gilbert, Xavier Hutchins Jr., Micah Clyde, Jaden Jackson, Darius McKenzie. We got Jaden Salette. Thanks, sir. The rest of them now here, Jordan Wiggins, Jalen Wilson. I also want to recognize the coaches, the head coach of the team. The manager is Tenacio Denmark. Here you go. Warwick McElroy Sr. Appreciate it. Thanks, sir. Marlon Greer is not here. Jeremy Wiggins, he's over there getting Northeast ready for Football Friday. Team, and none of it would be possible without a team mom. Our team mom is Shakivia Gilbert, but she's not here.
Guys, I just want to say I thank y'all. I've been seeing y'all play since y'all were little from Head Start. I've been working with Parks and Recs for 15 years. So I've been watching y'all grow up. So I'm proud of you all. I know, like he said, it's some stuff that y'all could be doing other than what y'all are doing. So I want y'all to continue. Anything y'all ever need, whether it be on that side or my side, come talk to me. Because I raised all my kids in Bloomfield. So proud of y'all guys.
Congratulations, Coach. Hope to see you back next year. All right, we don't have any comments on agenda items. We do have approval of minutes. Item 6A is approval of the August the 6th, 2024 regular commission meeting. Can I get a motion to approve? Motion by Commissioner Bronson, second by Commissioner Bailey. All those in favor of the motion, please say aye. Opposed, nay. That was you? You sound like Bronson over there. I don't know. All right, motion passes. We have the consent agenda, which is items A through P. This time, entertain a motion for approval. Motion by Commissioner Wilder, second by Mayor Pro Tem Clark. All those in favor of the motion, please say aye. Opposed, nay. That motion carries. We do have one item on the agenda for public comments on non-agenda items. Mr. Darrell Gatson. Ms. Gatson, if you don't mind coming to that microphone, sir. You have up to 5 minutes in which to talk. I have read some of your comments, and I would just like to urge you not to mention anyone's name and personnel. That would be a violation of our decorum. So I won't allow you to get on any particular individual, but certainly the issues that's important to you, we'd like to hear from you for up to 5 minutes. But I just ask that you not use anyone's name and take precautions as far as yourself, okay?
Why not use nobody's name?
Because it violates our policy, and we're not going to allow you to do that.
All right.
You understand, sir?
I kind of understand, but I can't tell my story without names. I guess I'm just going to fill it in with blank.
You can do whatever you can as long as you don't announce the person. If you got a particular office or department you want to refer to, certainly you can do that.
Yeah.
But no personal name, sir.
So I can't even tell you who I brought this issue to prior to now.
If you want to have specific conversations about a specific person, we can do it after the hearing, but the rules of decorum.
Okay.
Yeah.
I got it written down, so I just
Yeah.
keep it.
Thank you, sir.
All right. So my subject is urgent concerns regarding the misconduct and negligence in Macon-Bibb County Building and Fire Safety Department facilitating criminal activities. Dear Mayor, Commissioner, blank, and esteemed commissioners, I come before you today as a concerned resident of Macon-Bibb County, deeply troubled by ongoing misconduct and negligence within our county's Building and Fire Safety Department. Specifically, I wish to bring to your attention the actions, or rather inactions, of blank, a building official, and blank, a residential inspector, both of whom have facilitated the criminal activities of blank, an unlicensed contractor operating under the guise of legitimate businesses. My first point is failure to enforce code and permit regulations. Despite being fully aware that blank is not licensed general contractor, blank and blank allowed blank to pull permits and conduct multiple construction activities across Macon-Bibb County. Blank pulls permits under a different company name. Can I say the company name? Huh? Gold Stone General Contractors, misleading the public and violating Georgia state law. When confronted with evidence of these violations, both blank and blank failed to take appropriate action to revoke the permits and enforce any penalties. Point 2, facilitation of unlicensed contracting and false inspections. Blank tasked with ensuring the safety and compliance of residential construction knowingly allowed blank to proceed with construction without the proper permits, including for a garage built on my property. Blank not only failed to enforce code regulations, but also falsely passed an inspection on substandard work, enabling blank to draw funds unlawfully. This pattern of negligence allowed blank to siphon off thousands of dollars from me under false pretense. Point 3, obstruction and withholding information. In my attempts to report these violations and seek accountability, blank obstructed my efforts by refusing to provide public information such as license numbers and identities of relevant parties. He also withheld the name and title of a witness to my complaint, hindering my ability to file complaints with the proper authorities. Thus, this pattern of obstruction is deeply troubling and raises serious concerns about the integrity of the Building and Fire Safety Department. Point 4, initial evidence, presentation, and subsequent neglect. I first brought these issues to blank attention on June 4th, providing substantial evidence in the form of pictures, contract, erroneous permits, and video surveillance of blank meetings with blank. Despite this, blank did nothing. I even filed a 9-page formal complaint with him against blank, to which he did not respond, nor did he set a hearing. In fact, after learning that all our conversations were recorded, which is 100% legal in the state of Georgia, he instructed me to send all future communication to his email, to which he was already not responding. This further underscores the dishonest nature of his actions and those of his department. Additionally, I brought this matter up to blank on a recorded call, during which he ultimately stated that his primary concern was to protect the county and to save the money. Nevertheless, he did request all my evidence be sent to him. Point 5, abuse of power and misuse of permitting systems. Blank admitted on record that blank and other unlicensed individuals have been pulling permits all over Macon-Bibb County. Despite this knowledge, blank has allowed the misuse of permitting systems to continue, failing to protect the public from unqualified contractors who pose significant safety risks. His inaction is a gross dereliction of duty and suggests a deeper issue within the department that requires immediate investigation. 6, collusion and corruption. The evidence I have gathered, including recordings, emails, and documented inspections, strongly suggests that blank and blank are not merely negligent, but actively colluding with blank to defraud the public. Their failure to enforce building codes, combined with their efforts to mislead and obstruct me, point to a coordinated effort to protect unlicensed contractors at the expense of public safety and trust. Point 7, public safety, risk, and financial fraud.
As a result of their actions, the public has been exposed to significant safety risks due to substandard construction that does not comply with the International Residential Code. Moreover, blank, with the apparent protection of blank and blank, was on track to defraud me of $118,927.69, a crime that was only prevented because I took action to blow the whistle. However, many others in our community may not be so fortunate, and the financial losses could amount to hundreds of thousands, if not millions of dollars. Point 8, recorded evidence of negligence and misconduct. I have documented and recorded these issues extensively. For instance, on an inspection on July 3rd, 2024, Skylar was caught on video stating, "Well, I personally don't give a damn if it isn't built right," while on my property with blank, discussing with him issues about my house immediately after him and blank walked through it that was supposed to be an independent inspection performed by blank. This statement is a clear admission of his willful neglect of duty and a violation of public trust. Additionally, blank made the following recorded statements on July 9th, 2024 while on my property. "As long as you got an engineer, I don't give a dang about no code book. If he's going to sign off on it, I don't care if the dang thing falls apart tomorrow." He repeated for clarification, "Yes, I mean, I don't care if it's completely wrong and against the IRC. If the engineer signed off on it, I don't care if it looked like it's about to fall apart. It's good to go by me." Blank made this statement in front of a trainee while on his work phone. These statements not only demonstrate a flagrant disregard for building codes and safety standards, but also reflect the disturbing culture of negligence within the department. These statements from blank conducted while on the clock inspecting were brought to his boss, blank, to no avail. The content of blank conversation indicates serious disregard for public safety and building codes, which would endanger lives and property, if not already. Point 9, misleading.
Mr. Gatson, I've let you go over a couple of minutes. You about through, sir?
Yeah, I got one more point.
Okay, go ahead, sir.
Lack of reciprocity of a license. Currently, there is no reciprocity between Georgia and Florida for building official. This means that Edward Blank is only licensed as a building official in Florida. He may not legally authorized to work in Georgia under the license alone. A search on iccsafe.org revealed that Blank is only licensed in Florida, not Georgia. This raises serious legal and ethical concerns regarding his authority to enforce building codes and oversee inspections in Macon-Bibb. Request for immediate action. I am urging this commission to take immediate action to address these serious concerns. This includes launching an independent investigation into the actions of blank and blank, revoking any permits issued to blank, and implementing stricter oversight of the Building and Safety Department to prevent future abuses of power. The people of Macon-Bibb County deserves a government that upholds the law, protects its citizens, and ensures that the public safety is never compromised by corruption and negligence. I also recommend that both blank and blank be held accountable for their action, which may include termination, revocation of any professional licenses, and criminal prosecution if warranted. In closing, I want to emphasize that this issue is not just about the misconduct of a few individuals, but the integrity of our county's government. The failure to act on these serious concerns would send a dangerous message to the public that those tasked with enforcing the law are above it. I trust that this commission will do the right thing and take decisive action to restore public trust and ensure that such abuses are never allowed to happen again. Thank you for your time and attention to this matter.
Thank you, Mr. Gatson.
I also had, I ran out of time, but I also had blank recorded saying those things, and also with blank admitting that they're going around pulling permits without license, and they're not pulling them for themselves, but they're pulling them for other unlicensed contractors. Yeah. So they got a bunch of licenses out without the proper licensing and contractors.
Thank you, sir. I appreciate you being here tonight. If you want to, you can leave that copy of that with myself or attorney. Okay. No problem.
I did to self-secretary. I left you messages. I left it with your secretary, spoke with her. Frank, this guy is aware of it. He's been CC'd.
I just want to make sure we got copies of it, sir.
Okay.
Thank you very much. Thank you for being here tonight. Ladies and gentlemen, this concludes our regular scheduled commission meeting. And today is, what's today's date? 20th of August. Our next scheduled meeting is the day after Labor Day on September the 3rd. So we will see you on September the 3rd. The meeting hereby adjourned.